for launch.
SpaceX
Autorización de lanzamiento.
crew reports go. 30 seconds until liftoff.
T-minus 15. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition. Engines full power. And liftoff. Stage 1 propulsion is nominal.
Vehicle is pitching downrange. Stage 1 propulsion is nominal.
We're now at T plus 35 seconds into the 5th rotational crew mission on board Dragon and Falcon 9.
Nominal power and telemetry.
Coming up in just a few seconds, we'll hear the call out for Stage 1 throttle down.
Stage 1 throttle down.
Falcon 9 engines throttling down to help pass through the period of maximum dynamic pressure.
This period is known as max Q, and once the vehicle... There we just heard that the vehicle's now
Se
traveling
acerca
faster than
el máximo Q.
Once through max Q, we'll throttle those Merlin engines back up.
Max Q. Stage 1 throttle up. Stage 1 throttle.
Stage 1 Bravo.
Copy 1 Bravo.
That call out for 1 Bravo means we're in the second and final abort mode for the first stage, continuing to get good performance. The crew is already
Juan Bravo significa que pasan a la etapa siguiente y última de la posibilidad de eyectarse.
First will be engine chill on the second stage and back
Chill has
engine.
started.
And there you heard that call out. And then we'll have
Ahora
Nico.
empezaron a enfriar el segundo motor, o sea, de la etapa 2, y estamos muy próximos a que apaguen los motores y se separen las etapas.
Then we'll see the single Merlin vacuum engine on the second stage ignite and continue to carry the Crew 5 astronauts to orbit.
Just like we did on first stage, that MVAC chill is intended to help pre-chill the hardware prior to the full flow of that densified liquid oxygen.
Stage 1 throttle down.
At this point in time, those 9 Merlin engines are beginning to throttle down in preparation for MECO, or main engine cutoff.
Standing by for MECO.
Aquí vemos.
Stage 2 Alpha.
Stage separation confirmed. Copy 2 Alpha.
Separación y encendido
There
en
we
la
should
segunda
see
etapa.
that second engine begin to ignite now. And obviously confirmed by the loud cheer behind us here at Mission Control Hawthorne.
And we're also in 2 Alpha for the aborts if needed. Again, second stage is lit and continuing to carry the Crew 5 astronauts into orbit.
We're now getting a view of the first stage after that stage separation. The second stage still being illuminated by that single Merlin vacuum engine, and that's on the right-hand side of your screen. First stage on the left-hand side of your screen making its way back to Earth. We will be attempting to land it on our drone ship, which today we are using just read the instructions.
Acquisition signal.
Bueno, para la gente nueva les cuento. Del lado izquierdo tenemos la primera etapa que todavía sigue subiendo por el impulso que llevaba y va a empezar a caer y luego va a aterrizar en el barco dron. A la derecha de la pantalla está la segunda etapa que sigue empujando la cápsula para ponerla en órbita. Qué lástima, no tenemos telemetría del lado derecho.
Space Coast there in the background of the first stage on the left-hand side of your screen. It also looks like you can actually see the thrust plume created by the first stage as it's now rotating just out of screen.
Second stage is going to continue firing until a little over 8 minutes into the flight, really doing the heavy lifting now, getting the crew into orbit.
Everything continues to look nominal on both first and second stages. As I mentioned, the first stage will be making a landing on one of our drone ships, which is currently parked a couple hundred miles off the coast of Florida in the Atlantic Ocean. So we can see now that
SpaceX, trajectory nominal.
good confirmation there that we have good trajectory.
Sí, inclusive están hablando de la telemetría. Tengo puesta la página de SpaceX, pero está transmitiendo exactamente lo mismo.
Crew is pulling a little more than 1 G right now. That's going to continue to ramp up, peaking just before we get to second
La
stage
tripulación
cutoff
está
here in just a few
sintiendo
minutes
ahora
from now.
un G en este momento.
First stage will be performing 2 separate burns.
Santiago Díaz pregunta si no hay riesgo con la cantidad de basura espacial. No, generalmente está toda traqueada la basura espacial y es parte de lo que se utiliza para el cálculo del lanzamiento, del momento del lanzamiento, ¿no?
And then the second final burn, and that will be the landing burn on our drone ship.
And the single MVAC engine that you see,
Trajectory nominal.
the single MVAC engine
Dragon
that you
copy.
see on the right of your screen is continuing to fire. We did hear another call out that trajectory is nominal. Crew heading in the direction that they are
Acquisition
supposed to
signal,
be.
AFSCM.
This single engine can produce over 220,000 pounds of thrust in the vacuum of space. Now over
Bueno, ahora sí
200
tenemos la
kilometers in
telemetría
altitude.
de la segunda etapa. Está a 200 kilómetros de
We
altitud
will start to hit events
y
now in a
continúa
rapid
aumentando la
succession
velocidad.
as the first stage continues to make its way back
Lo
to
que no
Earth,
tenemos es la
and the second
telemetría del
stage continues
booster.
its burn, just a couple minutes left in that burn.
For those of you just joining us,
Esa telemetría que
just over
tenemos en
6.5
pantalla
minutes
es
ago,
de lo que está a la
our
derecha,
four
que
Crew
es
5 astronauts
la segunda
launched from
etapa.
Kennedy Space Center in Florida, and they are now making their way into orbit on the second stage inside Crew Dragon.
Trajectory nominal.
Bueno, pero ya vemos que el booster está descendiendo,
The trajectory on that is nominal.
bajando.
Dragon copy.
Vemos que esas
They are
nubes del lado
sitting
izquierdo de la
inside,
pantalla
Dragon
se
Endurance. The
acercan.
first stage on the left-hand side of your screen, is making its way back.
Pablo pregunta qué tipo de sujeción hay entre las etapas mecánica.
The re-entry burn, which, as I said before, we ignite 3 of the 9 Merlin engines to help slow the
No, lo
booster
que
down
vemos
as
que
it
expulsa el
re-enters.
booster
That's part of the Earth sounds.
el nitrógeno comprimido para poder corregir,
As the entry burn
para
completes,
corregir
the final
la posición de ingreso y ahora está encendiendo
you can there see
3
on
de
the
sus
screen
motores
that entry
justamente
burn
para
has
desacelerar.
been initiated.
And as that entry burn completes, we'll be in the final different abort phases here shortly.
Qué lástima que está la telemetría puesta donde no debería estar y no tenemos.
Great news that entry burn was shut down, and then those last all the way across the Atlantic Ocean.
Ese encendido se utiliza en el booster para reducir su velocidad de ingreso de unos 7-8 mil kilómetros por hora a unos 6.000. El resto de la desaceleración hasta los 1200, 1400 lo hace la propia atmósfera con el rozamiento. Y luego está el encendido final donde prenden un único motor para aterrizar en el barco dron, ayudado por las aletas esas de control también.
We're about 10 seconds away from SECO 1.
Copy, Shannon.
Shannon,
Stage 1 transonic.
that call out for Shannon, Ireland, indicative of our final abort
Bueno.
zone. After this, we'll see second
Y el
stage
booster
shut
está
off, and we'll be
transónico,
listening for confirmation
quiere
of a
decir que está
good
muy
orbit,
próximo a
which tells
aterrizar.
us the crew and Dragon are exactly where they need to be.
Shutdown.
And there we had confirmation that the
Stage
MVAC
1 landing burn.
has shut down simultaneously. The entry
Dragon SpaceX, nominal orbit insertion.
Bueno, acaban de apagar. Bueno, ahí tenemos el aterrizaje. Uy, qué genial, qué
There
genial.
we can see the drone ship coming into view as Falcon 9 attempts.
Stage 1 landing leg deploy.
You can see those landing legs have now deployed.
Con la sombra.
And as you can see on your screen,
Qué increíble.
you can hear by the
Increíble.
clapping and cheering behind me,
Qué
Falcon 9
increíble.
has
No,
landed
no,
on
no,
our
no.
drone ship just through the
No, no, no.
instructions. Parked off the coast
De
of
los
Corta.
mejores aterrizajes, ¿eh? Qué increíble. Y bueno, la etapa 2 ya está apagada, ya están en órbita. Dentro de un minuto se va a separar la segunda etapa de la cápsula, que es lo próximo. Bueno, y acá lo vemos, a ver. Desde adentro del trunk estamos viendo la cámara dentro del trunk, o sea, del baúl.
We did hear that the crew has been successfully inserted into a good orbit.
Lo que no vemos es la tripulación con el Snoopy. Me está faltando esa cámara, señor director.
Again, the crew is still attached to the second stage.
We are expecting stage separation to occur in
Acá
just
vemos
over
otra
a minute
vez.
from now, about 1 minute and 8 seconds. And that's when the
Dentro de un minuto se separan.
when the second stage will separate from the Dragon trunk.
Y la cámara que
Dragon
estábamos
trunk is
viendo
the part of hardware
era
where we
justamente
are
la
able
parte
to
del baúl, la
house
parte de abajo,
cargo that is
que es la
able
parte de
to
carga donde
that
están los paneles solares alrededor, esa parte negra.
as well as the solar panels which help power Dragon while it is on orbit. Again, that stage separation is now coming up in about 30 seconds. After stage separation, we will have nose
Gracias,
cone
Dani
deployment.
Paredes, por ese
Now
mensaje.
that Dragon is in the vacuum of space, we will be able to open the nose
Muy
cone and
próximo para la
expose that
separación,
forward hatch, which is what is utilized
Y acá
to
vemos,
dock
hacia adentro del
autonomously
baúl.
with the International Space Station.
And that nose cone does stay closed for the flight uphill to help protect all of the guidance, navigation, and control sensors. We are standing by for second stage separation.
¿Por qué no vimos la ingravidez? Debe ser genial, dice Pablo Rubio. Y ahí se ve la parte de atrás de la cápsula con el trunk que está vacío. ¿Por qué sigue estando el trunk? Porque es la parte de adaptadora y porque están los paneles solares.
Dragon nuclear launch reactor on Dragon. On behalf of the entire launch and recovery team, it was an honor and a pleasure to be a part of this mission with you. And while October 3rd may belong to the Mean Girls, October 5th will forever belong to Crew 5. Godspeed, Endurance. Cheers.
Bueno, ahí va la cápsula Endurance.
Awesome. Thank you so much to the Falcon team.
Oops.
That was a smooth ride uphill. You got 3 rookies that are pretty happy to be floating in space right now, and 1 veteran astronaut who's pretty happy to be back as well. Let's see what you got to say, Coochie.
Falcon team, it was a smooth ride, and I see all the 3 happy faces here. Back in 0G, and I appreciate all the help to give us a smooth ride and training. And thank you so much. ジャクサの支援隊の皆さん、非常にスムーズな打ち上げでした。打ち上げご支援していただいた皆さん。
Ahí tenemos a Wakata agradeciendo y ahora hablando en japonés. Primera imagen o de la primera que vemos de atrás del piloto y el comandante de la misión. Me encanta esta cápsula, la verdad que me encantan esas pantallas. Y ahí tenemos el indicador de gravedad cero, o uno de ellos.
nice words there from the Crew 5 crew, as well
Bueno.
as
Dragon Falcon 9C, thanks for the words. Had a great ride. Have a good mission. We'll see you later.
a wonderful Mean Girls reference there by launch director Mark Soltis, and then we just heard from Chief Engineer Dan Alex. And we just heard our first Quindar tone, indicating the crew is in
Nominal
space.
dehumidifier activation and service section Draco checkouts. Expected loss of signal, New Hampshire.
Dragon copy.
And Kate, it did look like we were getting our first views of that microgravity
Yeah.
indicator.
I did see that as well.
Nick Black pregunta si la segunda etapa no aterriza. No, se descarta. Se reingresa en la atmósfera y se descarta. Se quema.
For the first time ever. We saw some cheers, some high fives. Looks like they're feeling great.
Y el baúl se mantiene, como dice Daría Hernández del canal Explorando el Espacio, hasta el regreso, donde también lo sueltan antes de regresar y se quema la atmósfera.
Back into view and hopefully get a better shot of it. I couldn't quite tell what it was, although it kind of looked like it may have been an Einstein doll. But that's just kind of what it looked like.
Parece que fuera un Einstein, dice
I
Kate.
think you're right, Kate. It looked like a baby Einstein to me.
Es un bebé Einstein, dice, le contesta
The next
Jessie.
milestone that we're looking ahead towards is the nose cone opening.
Bueno, lo próximo que están esperando en el Centro Control de California es la apertura del cono de nariz. Que necesitan abrirlo porque ahí están los escapes de los motores principales de la Dragon.
Kennedy Space Center at noon Eastern Time. They had a smooth ride up to orbit. The first stage landed successfully on our drone ship. Just read the instructions, and everything has been looking good so far. We are hoping to get another view on board Dragon once we're able to get that camera back. But so far, everything leading up to this point in time, we got a shot there of the MVAC engine, which is no longer firing. It is coasting with that it's attached to the second stage, which has been separated from Dragon. So everything was super smooth this morning, starting all the way back. I think we got here around T-4 hours, and super smooth countdown. Beautiful day from Kennedy Space Center. It looked like a gorgeous view from where Daryl and
Vamos a ver si tenemos
but yeah, we are
justamente
standing by for the nose cone opening. Now that the Dragon
la apertura del cono.
space, we are able to open up that nose cone and expose the forward hatch, which is what is utilized to autonomously dock with the International Space Station, but of course to protect that hardware as well as protect the guidance and navigation control hardware. We keep that nose cone closed during launch preparations and during the ascent portion. So as you can saw there momentarily, Dragon is in space, and the Crew 5 astronauts, all 4 of them are floating, or they will be able to float soon. We're hoping to get another view of that zero-G indicator once we're able to bring onboard cabin views back to you of the Crew 5 crew. We always like to see what the zero-G gravity indicator is. As you saw earlier in the webcast, Bob actually brought the zero-G indicator that he and Doug used on the Demo 2 mission, a lovely sequin dinosaur, which I also have one at my desk. Bob obviously has the one that went to space. Mine is a replica, but we love seeing these zero-G indicators. It's a really nice way to connect those of us on ground with the folks up in space. So as I said before, we are anticipating nose cone deployment shortly. I'm going to do a quick check-in, and there we can see now the nose cone, the hooks have been released, and we see that nose cone moving with a pretty up-close shot.
We're continuing to see that nose cone open, and
Acquisition of signal, line.
as we've mentioned, this does uncover a number of critical systems for the flight up to the space station that will be required for docking. There are 6 hooks that hold the nose cone in place during the launch and ascent portions.
Y que
Those have
hay
begun to retract and the
4
nose
ganchos,
cone is
4
beginning to
amarras
swing open.
que mantienen justamente el cono cerrado y que tienen que abrirse para
The nose cone
separarse
is
para
about 2/3 of the
poder
way open
abrir.
at this time, so we do expect it to be fully open here shortly.
Shortly after nose cone deployment, the crew will be able to get their visors open and they'll be given the okay to get
Una
out
vez
of their
que
suits,
se
and
abra
that will allow them to settle
el
in
cono,
for their ride to the
los
International Space
tripulantes,
Station.
dice ahí, sí se van a poder abrir los
It is about
visores
a
y luego se van a
29-hour
preparar
mission for the crew
para
from
sus
launch
29
to
horas de
the
viaje
space
para el
station.
acoplamiento.
As you said, they'll be able to get out of their suits,
Que
get
les
comfortable,
recuerdo,
get some rest,
si se quedan hasta el final,
being in the microgravity.
este video lo va a redirigir hacia el próximo y pueden activar el recordatorio para la próxima transmisión, que va a ser el acoplamiento. Que en realidad la próxima transmisión no va a ser esa, sino que va a ser un lanzamiento que tenemos de Starlink en un rato.
3 first-time spacegoers will have a brief period of acclimation to gravity. I know I certainly would, and I also recognize that my period probably wouldn't be very brief in order to get acclimated to that lack of gravity. But yeah, this is something that the veteran astronauts on board station are, always happy to help really introduce the new spacegoers to the new environment.
Absolutely, and we did also hear that there was good service section Draco checkouts that took place. We are standing by for that nose cone to be fully deployed, but it should be coming here momentarily.
Estamos aguardando justamente que la confirmación de que el cono está abierto y ahí vamos a repetir el lanzamiento. Lo pasamos de nuevo porque me encantó.
Dragon copies.
Next burn is the upcoming phase burn per your displays.
We see the phase burn in 28 minutes.
Good readback.
Alex Berberá dice 23:10 el lanzamiento del Starlink. 23:10 UTC. Bueno, ahora sí, totalmente abierto el cono.
On the Draco thrusters, on the service section Draco thrusters rather, and we also had nominal forward bulkhead checkouts.
That's right, and the astronauts should be getting the okay to doff or remove their suits in about 6 or 7 minutes. I would imagine that, as Sandra mentioned before, we do have 3
Dentro de 6-7 minutos los astronautas van a comenzar a sacarse sus trajes espaciales, que no lo van a mostrar, no lo muestran nunca.
Folks and even the veteran, everybody would be excited to get out and be able to float around a little bit for the first time on this Crew 5 mission.
Yes, absolutely. And you do see the crew working through some procedures there on the touchpads that they do have in front of them. They'll continue to have those available for them throughout their flight uphill. Again, this is going to be about a 29-hour launch to docking for Crew 5.
It seems as though that 0G indicator may have floated out of view, perhaps up above the crew displays. We can see that the visors are up.
Dragon, SpaceX, environments are looking good for suit doffing. For today, we can leave the camera configured for a little while longer, but at this time, you are go for 4.012 and 4.300. As a reminder, please stow the suits with the visors closed. I'll copy.
Bueno, les avisan que ya se pueden sacar los trajes.
4.012 and 4.300. We're going to keep the cameras configured, and when we stow the suits, we'll do it with the visors closed.
Y dice que guarden los trajes con los visores cerrados.
Also go to tell the world a little bit about that stowaway we saw shortly after second engine cutoff.
So we're standing by for a few words from the crew about that zero-G indicator. And there it is.
Expected launch Dragon back in the ground. We missed the last part of your transition.
And no worries, repeating my last one there. I was going to have you all talk a little bit about your zero-G indicator, but we can hold that off for the next ground station pass here for Dubai. At this time, what I'll do is I'll take the cameras external for suit doffing, and then you let me know when they're allowed to come back on board.
Bueno, no, les avisan que no van a poner más cámaras de los astronautas, así se pueden sacar los trajes, y que les avisen cuándo pueden volver a poner las cámaras internas, ¿no? O sea, le dan privacidad.
And it does sound like we are in a brief expected loss of signal with the crew. This does happen from time to time when...
Bueno, vamos a repetir este lanzamiento.
As we work towards Crew 5, but as the launch date shifts, know that they've got a wonderful
To watch the launch itself from behind mission control.
Estoy buscando el momento del lanzamiento justamente para poder hacer la repetición.
And those signify the first stage and will last up to the very north tip of North Carolina. The next
Up at T-minus 6 minutes. Super chilled, densified liquid Falcon 9
is complete.
Heard that stage minus 1 minute. We'll hear that Dragon is in countdown. Its flight computer will switch to countdown mode, and we'll hear that the flight termination system on Falcon 9 is armed.
FTS is armed. Falcon 9 is in startup and is now controlling.
And there you heard it.
Dragon is in countdown.
Dragon's flight computer in countdown. The flight termination system now armed.
We should get the final go for launch from SpaceX launch director Mark Soltis.
Dragon, SpaceX, Godspeed, go for launch.
SpaceX Dragon, go for launch.
SpaceX
T-minus
reports
30
go. Crew reports go. 30 seconds until liftoff.
30 segundos para el lanzamiento. Repetición.
T-minus 15. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition. Engines full power. And liftoff. Stage 1 propulsion is nominal.
Vehicle is pitching downrange. Stage 1 propulsion is nominal.
We're now at T plus 35 seconds into the 5th rotational crew mission on board Dragon and Falcon 9.
Coming up in just a few seconds, we'll hear the call out for Stage 1 throttle down.
Stage 1 throttle down.
Falcon 9 engines throttling down to help pass through the period of maximum dynamic dynamic pressure.
This period is known as max Q, and once the vehicle... There we just heard that the vehicle is now traveling faster than the speed of sound. Once through max Q, we'll throttle those Merlin engines back up.
Max Q. Stage 1 throttle up. Stage 1
Stage 1 Bravo.
Copy, 1 Bravo.
That call out for 1 Bravo means we're in the second and final abort mode for the first stage, continuing to get good performance. The crew is already pulling
eso que estábamos escuchando del One Bravo y One Alpha y eso son las distintas fases de eyección que tiene la cápsula, porque hay distintos equipos de rescate, distintos modos de eyección con distinta potencia inclusive o distinto tiempo para poder alejarse de la Tierra y regresar.
Then we'll see the single Merlin vacuum engine on the second stage ignite and continue to carry the Crew 5 astronauts to orbit.
Just like we did on first stage, that MVAC chill is intended to help pre-chill the hardware prior to the full flow of that densified liquid oxygen.
Stage 1 throttle down.
At this point in time, those 9 Merlin engines are beginning to throttle down in preparation for MECO or main engine cutoff.
Viene el momento del corte de motor y separación de etapas. Y lo dejo justamente para ver la parte interna ahora.
And MECO.
Stage 2
Justamente
Alpha.
esto.
Stage separation confirmed. Copy, 2 Alpha.
There we should see that second engine begin to ignite now. And obviously confirmed by the loud cheer behind us here at Mission Control Hawthorne.
And we're also in 2 Alpha for the aborts if needed. Again, second stage is lit and continuing to carry the Crew 5 astronauts into orbit.
We're now getting a view of the first stage after that stage separation. The second stage still being
El
illuminated.
próximo paso que viene ahora interesante es el encendido de motor de la izquierda del booster para desacelerar. Lo vamos a adelantar un poquito justamente para disfrutar del momento del reingreso.
We did hear another call out. The trajectory is nominal. We will say
Florida, and they are now
No
making
creo que ya
their
nos
way
pasamos.
into orbit on the, up to the re-entry burn, which, as I said before, we ignite 3 of the 9 Merlin engines
Oh, viene ahora.
to help slow the booster down as it re-enters the dense part of the Earth's atmosphere. As the entry burn completes, we'll be in the final.
Stage 1 entry burn startup.
Se están sacando los guantes y los trajes. En este momento los astronautas lo están mostrando. Mientras vemos esto, la transmisión en vivo. Esto es lo que está sucediendo en vivo a bordo de la cápsula, mientras nosotros estamos viendo la repetición.
Great news that entry burn was shut down, and then those last all the way across the
Lo que vamos a hacer,
off the coast of Scotland for those abort zones.
dejamos un poquito estas imágenes que están buenas y ponemos la repetición del momento del aterrizaje.
Everything continues to look nominal for both the first and second stages.
And the crew with the second stage still attached is now traveling over 13,000 miles per hour.
We're about 10 seconds away from SECO 1.
Copy, Shannon.
Shannon,
Stage 1 transonic.
that call out for Shannon, Ireland, indicative of our final abort zone. After this, we'll see second stage shut off, and we'll be listening for confirmation of a good orbit, which tells us the crew and Dragon are exactly where they need to be.
And there we had confirmation that the
Stage
MVAC
1 landing burn.
has shut down simultaneously. The entry.
SpaceX nominal orbit insertion.
And you heard that call for a good insertion. We will coast for a few minutes.
Bien, qué impresionante
There we can
impresionante
see
esto.
the drone ship coming into view as Falcon 9 attempts.
Stage 1 landing leg deploy.
You can see those landing legs have now deployed.
Ah,
And as you can see on your screen, and you can hear by the clapping and cheering behind me, Falcon 9 has landed on our drone ship just with the instructions, parked off the coast of Florida.
impresionante. Impresionante, la verdad.
Do it together.
Impresionante. Vamos a sacar ese cartel de repetición porque ya estamos en directo nuevamente.
Well, that was excellent, Josh. We appreciate you all taking the chance to share with us some of those special words and some of the meaning to you all.
Tell you, my crewmates are just happy that we didn't break out a dry erase board and get into more details.
We'll chat lensing later.
Absolutely.
Están faltando un montón de me gusta, ¿no?
Astronaut Josh Cassada, the pilot of Crew 5, and his fellow astronauts and cosmonaut, floating in space high above the Earth as they head to the International Space Station with a special message about Albert Einstein, who is represented there floating around space as the zero-G indicator, but then also a nod to his theory of relativity. E equals mc squared, I believe, Bob.
Well, there are a lot of great things that Einstein was responsible for, and I would just say that maybe there are 5 folks experiencing his happiest thought on board the Dragon capsule just right now.
Absolutely, and NASA is looking to return humans to the surface of the moon, and this is part of it, going to the International Space Station. We mentioned some of the efforts in going up there, and of course,
Pero tenía atrasado mi monitor. Gracias, Rubén.
As well. Some final thoughts, Bob, about the day today.
Well, it was just a wonderful day, a chance for me to relive the launch experience with the Falcon 9 and the Dragon capsule, and I'm just super excited for the Crew 5 and little Einstein on board and in free fall right now.
A very special moment indeed. Before we wrap up, I want to send it over to Megan Cruz, who is with Deputy Administrator and former Space Shuttle astronaut Pam Melroy.
I am Pam, and I have just been chatting about
Bueno,
how
Pamela
wonderful of a day this was.
es una de las administradoras de NASA. Es astronauta también, ¿eh?
For me to see the next generation of launch vehicles launching to the space station was thrilling.
And also the next generation of young explorers. You know, you and I were talking about a young boy here, guys, that bought a space suit, an astronaut suit from downstairs at our store and was wearing it around and running around. How cute was that to see him so excited?
Well, I found it pretty cute to see the 3 rookies who were on the flight, as well as my very dear personal friend, Koichi Wakata, who I flew with in 2000 to the space station. So I'm inspired by both the young and the experienced.
And speak to me about that like you said, you've flown on the space shuttle 3 times. Talk to me about that ascent, how it must feel as they're going up through the atmosphere.
It's absolutely a remarkable experience, and I found myself thinking as I was looking at the schedule for this rocket, how physics drives so much of what we do. So it's very similar in the timing of everything, but the space shuttle was a little bit of a wild ride, I have to say. It had a lot of vibration, particularly the first 2 minutes. But you know, it's a very different experience when you're here on the ground. It always brings tears to my eyes. I pray for the crew. When you're inside the vehicle, you're having a blast.
So I'm glad to hear that they were having a blast. Talk to me about why these commercial crew missions are so important.
Well, they're really important to us for a lot of different reasons. The whole value that NASA brings to the American people and in fact to humanity is around science, a strong science and technology posture for the country.
Virginia, acabo de ver el video. Si puede pasar de que pase justamente un avión, pero desde Miami no sabes si realmente está invadiendo o no el range, ¿no? No sabes si está invadiendo el range o no. Pero está bueno. Después lo miro detenidamente, gracias.
There's nothing better than seeing an astronaut fly to space for inspiration.
Sure. And what's next for NASA? You know, right behind us we have the vehicle assembly building. Inside is NASA's Artemis 1 rocket. Are you excited for that?
Bueno, en un rato largo, ¿no? Vamos a tener el lanzamiento de Starlink. Vamos a ver si sigue estando en fecha, a ver si confirmamos eso y vamos a cerrar este streaming, ¿no?
So we've taken her out to the runway a couple of times now, and we've learned a lot. And I cannot wait to see the most powerful rocket in the world launch going.
Recuerden que tenemos un segundo canal, Desorbitados. Recuerden que hacemos todas las transmisiones. Vamos a hacer el acoplamiento. Vamos a hacer el lanzamiento que hay ahora. Mañana hay 1 o 2 lanzamientos más también.
Josh and Koichi and Anna are now on course to arrive at the International Space Station around 4:57 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow. And of course,
sí, sigue estando en hora.
We'll stay on the air for continuous live coverage along Crew 5's entire ride to station. Meanwhile, SpaceX's YouTube channel will join live coverage starting at roughly 2 hours prior to docking. And though our coverage here at Kennedy is coming to a close, we will turn it over to the team in Houston.
Bueno, ellos terminan también, así que vamos a ver algunas de las partes importantes, ¿no? Justamente, acá tenemos, mientras abordaban los Tesla.
Absolutely. You know, for the Demo 2 mission, my son was super excited to yell Launch America. So that was the one thing that
El momento del ingreso a la cápsula. Los 4 ya sentados con los chequeos. ¿No? El cierre de la compuerta y los chequeos de la compuerta de acceso. La separación del brazo de acceso con la activación justamente del sistema de eyección. Tenemos justamente el momento del llenado de combustible y obviamente el lanzamiento, que vamos a dejar un momento del lanzamiento. Aquí tenemos el momento del lanzamiento y con esto nos vamos a despedir, ¿no?
T-minus 15. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition. Engines full power. And liftoff. Stage 1 propulsion is nominal.
Vehicle is pitching downrange. Stage 1 propulsion is nominal.
We're now at T plus 35 seconds into the 5th rotational crew mission on board.
Un espectáculo increíble. Les agradezco enormemente el apoyo, les agradezco haber estado todos acá. Ni que hablar, los moderadores, los miembros VIP del canal, los suscriptores, los nuevos suscriptores que tenemos, a estos 800 que todavía nos están viendo en directo, les agradezco enormemente que sean parte del canal. Bueno, que se suscriban los que no están suscritos al canal para poder seguir disfrutando de todos los eventos espaciales. Tenemos un lanzamiento, otro lanzamiento de otro cohete idéntico que va a poner más de 50 satélites en órbita. Lo lanzan desde California, otro Falcon 9 igual a este. Y mañana tenemos también 1 o 2 lanzamientos más previstos, además del acoplamiento de estos astronautas con la Estación Espacial Internacional, que lo vamos a transmitir como siempre en directo acá en este canal. Un abrazo enorme, enorme, enorme. Muchísimas gracias. Lamentablemente no tengo a Scotty para que me teletransporte, ¿no? Pero ya va a volver. Un abrazo, nos vemos. Gracias, gracias. Chau, chau, chau.